Hi friends, welcome to the video tutorial on embedded systems. In this video, we will be learning the RTOS based design principles. Here, we will be covering the list of 15-point strategies, description of each principle, and some important questions. This is the list of 15-point strategies, and each of the following strategies will be explained in the following slides. The first design principle is design with the ISRs and tasks. Under this design principle, there are a set of rules or conditions to be followed. The first condition is no ISR instruction should block any task, which means that no interrupt service routine instruction is supposed to block any task or should wait for taking the messages. The second condition is a task or an ISR should not call another task or an ISR. The third condition is each ISR or task has to be under the control of a real-time operating system. And the fourth condition is each ISR code should be of short execution time. The second design principle is that RTOS provides nesting of ISRs. This means that a running ISR can be interrupted by a higher priority interrupt. For example, in this slide we can see a main function and the control moves to an interrupt service routine named ISR1, which is of low priority. Then comes another interrupt service routine named ISR2, which is of higher priority. So what will happen is that the normal execution of ISR1 will be interrupted by ISR2, and only after the completion of the execution of ISR2, the control will be moving back to ISR1 and the execution will be resuming from the point where the interruption has occurred. The third design principle is a task can wait and take the messages. So in this principle, we see that tasks are designed in infinite loops and the execution of the tasks can be synchronized by using inter-process communication. So each task is in a finite loop and the synchronization is done using inter-process communication. When frequent interrupts occur from the same source, then the messages can be put in the buffer on each interrupt. And when this buffer is sufficiently filled, then the inter-process communication message can be posted for ready buffer. This is done because if the buffer is not used and the inter-process communication messages are posted frequently by making system calls, then there will be frequent context switches and lot of time will be spent in that, and this wastage of time is not desirable in the case of a real-time operating system design. The fourth design principle is that a design method is that an ISR code should be optimally of short execution time. We know that this topic was discussed earlier under the first design principle, where it was mentioned that an ISR code should be of short execution time. Also, the frequent posting of the messages by the inter-process communication or IPC functions from the interrupt service routines must be avoided. The fifth design principle is design in the form of task modular design. So we have a number of modules and each module consists of multiple tasks. This is for maintaining better and predictable response time control. Also, the design takes care of the shared resource or data among the tasks under each module. The sixth design principle is design in the form of tasks for data encapsulation. So one important topic to be discussed under this principle is that global variables are not used in the tasks. That is, in processes or threads, we don't use global variables at all. Instead, inter-process communications are used to encapsulate the messages between two or more limited number of tasks. Also, semaphores, queues, and messages should not be globally shared variables. Each should be shared between a set of tasks only and encapsulated from the rest. The seventh design principle is that limit the number of tasks and select the appropriate number of tasks. The main intention behind this principle is to increase the response time to the tasks and to have better control over shared resource and have a reduced memory requirements for stacks. Also, the tasks which share the data with a number of tasks can be designed as one single task. Thereby, we can limit the number of tasks. For example, display task for the messages from number of tasks, printer task for the messages from number of tasks, flash memory writing task for writing into a flash memory by the number of tasks. These are the examples of the seventh principle, that is, we can limit the number of tasks and select the appropriate number of tasks. The eighth design principle is design with taking care of memory and power needs of the system. So for an efficient system, the memory usage and the power consumption should be less. The ninth design principle is design with taking care of the time spent in the system calls. Under this principle, the expected execution time depends on mainly two factors. These factors are, first one, the specific target processor of the embedded system, and second one is the memory access time. So there is a scaling parameter S, and this scaling parameter S defines the time taken for an action by an RTOS scheduler. So for each action we are allotting a particular value of S. For example, let the action be context switch. So the value of S that is assigned will be 2. Next action can be a task suspend or task resume, and the value of S allotted is 1. For a delete operation it can be 10 and so on. So for each action there is a particular value of S which is assigned so that the time spent in the system calls can be taken care of. 10th design principle is use appropriate precedence assignment strategy and use of preemption in place of time slicing. As we have already seen in the second design principle, a task of higher priority preempts the low priority tasks, and also the ISRs preempt the tasks. Therefore, we have to choose an appropriate precedence for each task and ISRs. The interrupt service routines have higher priorities compared to the interrupt service threads and tasks. One mode of scheduling the tasks is assigning equal priorities and allotting time slice for each task, as in the case of round-robin scheduling. Time slicing is done only in certain cases. For example, a network router routing the packets of multiple clients. This can be thought of an example of round-robin scheduling. The 11th design principle is avoid task deletion. The aim of this design principle is to avoid or reduce the deletion of tasks. Here we can create tasks at startup only and then avoid the creation and deletion of tasks later. The only advantage of deleting is that additional memory space will be available when the tasks are deleted. The 12th design principle is use idle CPU time for internal functions. We know that a CPU is said to be in an idle state if it is not performing any task. This may be due to the CPU waiting for preemption, etc. The CPU at that instant may associate the real-time operating system for performing a number of operations such as read the internal queue, manage the memory, search for a free block of memory, delete or dispatch a task, interprocess communication functions, etc. The 13th design principle is design with memory allocation and deallocation by tasks. The aim of this design principle is to reduce the real-time operating system functions. That is, the execution of the functions takes significant time when it is done with the help of real-time operating system whenever RTOS preempts a task. Therefore, if the memory allocation and deallocation is done by the tasks, then the number of real-time operating system functions will be reduced. As a result, the interrupt latency period will also get reduced. And if the fixed size memory blocks are allocated, then the predictability of time taken in the memory allocation will also be present. The 14th design principle is design with control on latency periods. Earlier, we have learned that RTOS supports the nesting of ISRs, but disabling of running of other tasks for a longer period increases the worst case interrupt latency periods for all the interrupts. So, if it is possible, while executing the critical section codes, instead of disabling the interrupts, the task switching flag changes should be prevented. This is because disabling preemption may be better than disabling interrupts. But both the cases increase worst case interrupt latencies. So, resource locking using mutex semaphores may be better compared to disabling preemption or interrupts. Here, a task should take the mutex semaphore only during a short period. We can also use spin locks in the case where a critical section code is very short and executes in less time. Finally, the 15th design principle is design with limited RTOS functions. In the 13th design principle, we have seen that it aims to reduce the number of RTOS functions. So there are a set of facts that we have to consider while using an RTOS. First one, use an RTOS which can be configured. That is, the RTOS enables the limited RTOS functions. For example, if a queue is not used during execution, then the code of the embedded system disables it during running. Second one, use an RTOS which provides for creation of scalable code. This means include only the needed functions in the executable files so that the number of RTOS functions will be limited. Third one, use an RTOS which is hierarchical. That is, use only the needed management functions at the kernel with the rest outside. Next, we move on to some important questions. These are the questions for which the 15 design principles that we have learned comes as the answer. The first question is, which are the RTOS based design principles? Second one, list out the 15-point strategies for design. Third one, explain the design principles when using an RTOS to design an embedded system. Fourth one, what are the strategies to be followed while designing an RTOS? And the fifth one, what is an RTOS? Explain the two types of RTOS and list out the design principles. In the fifth question, we have to explain what is an RTOS and then also explain the two types of real-time operating system that are hard and soft RTOS, and then list out the design principles. Next, we move on to the video summary where we have completed the list of 15-point strategies and their description and some important questions. This is all about real-time operating system design principles. Thank you.